What's going on, everybody? This is NYG Jeffy T 3285. And you thought that the New York Giants roundabout was over? Not quite. I have a little bit of a bonus edition for you guys, and this one is going to be all about the special teams and what they're going to bring to the New York Giants in 2022, as well as a review of how they did in 2021. So what's going on, everybody? This is NYG Jeffy T 3285. I hope everybody is enjoying your Hump Day Wednesday. And this is the New York Giants Roundabout Bonus Edition, all about the special teams and what to expect for them going into the 2022 season. Now in 2021, the New York Giants actually had one of the better special teams overall when it comes to coverage, but they were lacking a little bit when it came to the return game, as well as preventing touchdowns. The New York Giants were not able to do much when it comes to scoring touchdowns on returns, as well as they were not getting enough net yardage when it came to returning the ball up, as they were mainly just stuck by the 20s, even sometimes returning to the 30s. But they were been getting zero to little production out of the return game. But at the same time, their coverage skills were actually very well when it came to covering the punts and kicks from the opposing franchises. So the New York Giants have gotten a little bit better when it comes to that aspect, and they've actually put more of a priority in the special teams the past couple of years in making sure they get Thomas McGaughey as many good special teams players that know how to cover and make sure they know their gaps and assignments when it comes to a return game, punt return, kick return, or any type of aspects when it comes to special teams. Now the New York Giants in 2021, under special teams coordinator Thomas McGaughey, who has been with the franchise since he was part of the Pat Shurmur regime in 2018, they ranked as the number 10 overall special team squad in that year. And it was all really led by their kicker, Graham Gano, who's been the steady 13-year pro, who has actually been a multiple-time Pro Bowler, and has been very steady for the New York Giants in terms of the kicking game. But in another aspect, Graham Gano is going to be going into the final year of his 3-year, $14 million extension that he signed back in 2019. So that means the New York Giants are going to have another decision to make at the end of the season on whether they might want to try to bring back Graham Gano, or if they're going to try to look for maybe a possible younger option in the draft, or maybe even in free agency next year, if they decide to move on from Graham Gano. But all Graham Gano has been a model of consistency since he's come into the NFL, and he's especially been very, very more consistent for the New York Giants. And for the past few seasons he's been with the team, he's been a guy that the New York Giants know when he goes out there, he's going to make sure he makes the kick, and he's going to even do a good job when it comes to the kickoffs, and he's going to keep the team within the 20-yard line or less. Now, Graham Gano in 2021, he averaged about 62 yards per punt, so that's a pretty solid average when he does a kickoff during his kickoffs after they score either a field goal or touchdown. His longest field goal was about 55 yards. He went 29 for 33 in field goals made to field goal attempt, and he had a kickoff return average of about 22.6. So that means he's pretty much, when he does his kickoff, it's a combination of his kicking off as well as the return game, the coverage skills, that they're keeping the opposing teams within the 20-yard line and not letting them break it out to get into either close to or New York Giants territory for to have a better chance of scoring some points for the opposing franchise. So Graham Gano has been the model of consistency for the New York Giants, and you'll expect hopefully the same going into the 2022 season, that Graham Gano is going to be a steady guy going into the season, and that he's going to be able to consistently be that guy, that when you trot him out there to make a key field goal, or even when you try to make him do a kickoff return, that he's going to make sure he's going to kick it off, and not only his coverage skills are going to be good, but he's going to kick it to make sure the opposing team does not get anywhere into the New York Giants territory or even close. Now, in terms of the punting situation, which has been a disaster the past couple of years, thanks to Riley Dixon and his ineffectiveness when it comes to punting the football, as he just couldn't get a good net yardage. His punts were shanks at times. He had very little yardage. The New York Giants decided to go outside the organization to look for an upgrade at the punting position, as they cut Riley Dixon in the offseason, and they are able to sign the punter from the Cleveland Browns, a.k.a. the Scottish Hammer, Jamie Gillen. Jamie Gillen is a fourth-year player who averaged about 40 punts last year with a net average of about 41.5 punts. His longest punt was about 65 yards, and he's punted at least 14 times within the 20-yard line. So when he punts 14 times last year when he made his 40 punts, he was able to sink the opposing team within the 20-yard line, and they weren't able to break off any type of return. So that's pretty decent for a punter, but you expect hopefully a little bit more for him, and you hopefully think that it can't get any worse than what we had to deal with Riley Dixon, who was clearly very ineffective when it came to the punting unit, and we're hoping that Jamie Gillen could come into the New York Giants and provide more of a good punting average and put the opposing team into much more of a difficult situation and not have to start either near or on the Giants' territory when they have the ball for the opposing offenses. Now, when it comes to the coverage skills, like I mentioned earlier, the New York Giants were actually one of the better teams when it came to the coverage in punts and return game for the opposing teams, as they were able to lock down the teams, keep them within or close to the 20-yard line, maybe sometimes get to the 30. There were occasional moments where the opposing team did get up to the 40 or even get close to the New York Giants territory, but for the most part, the New York Giants actually did a pretty solid job when it came to their coverage units on punt and return games. But this is where the biggest problem area has been for the New York Giants, and they've been looking for a guy that can give them a spark in the punt return and the kick return game. And this has been something that's been lacking from the New York Giants for years, is every time they get the ball kicked off to them, they for some reason always start around or near the 20-yard line. And this is the biggest problem with the special teams unit, is that the New York Giants just can't get themselves in a pretty decent field position where they can operate a little bit better, and they're stuck within the 20-yard line or even less than that. Now, primarily the number one guy that was the return option, punt returns and kick returns, was namely C.J. Board, who was mainly a reserve receiver for the New York Giants, who occasionally played on offense, but he was mainly there for special teams prowess, whether it came on coverage, when they come in punt and kick return coverage, or mainly as the main punt returner / kick returner. Now, C.J. Board, when it came to his kick returning, he averaged about 273 total yards in his kick returns, with about a 24.8 average in his kick returns. He had about 26 yards, his 33 yards is his longest punt return. So that means he got up to at least the 33-yard line for the Giants, and that was their best position, which is not good. And the punt returning was even worse than that. As his punt returning, he averaged about 3 or 4 punt returns, but then averaged about 16.5. That's not good. When your punt returner is averaging about 16.5 yards, you're in a lot of trouble. That means you're mainly stuck even less than the 20-yard line when you're operating your offense, when the opposing team kicks the ball off to you and you can't even get to past the 20-yard line. You know you have a problem, and you know you need to seek an upgrade at the punt returning unit, and especially even the kick returning unit. And we're not saying it's all C.J. Board's fault. Maybe at sometimes the blocking in front of him just couldn't get the job done and couldn't open up enough holes for C.J. Board and other punt returners and kick returners to operate. But it's a major problem area for the New York Giants that needs to be an upgrade going into the season, so it could help the offense out, get into a better position to maybe get some points on offense and be in better field position to operate. And obviously the New York Giants did not score a single touchdown from their punt return or kick returning unit. Now this year, you might have some other guys that might be able to be in play that could be a better option in terms of the punt and kick return. As I could see a guy like Richie James, who was signed from the San Francisco 49ers as a free agent. He could be a guy that mainly is used in the special teams role as a guy that could be your main kick returner. And then you obviously have the rookie Wan'Dale Robinson with his elusiveness. You could throw him back there as a returner, as well as Kadarius Toney and maybe even Darius Slayton. But I don't know if I want to throw Slayton out there with his suspect hands. But you have options out there that could be even a better guy, or guys that can handle the punt return and kick return duties for the New York Giants to give this team a little bit of a spark that they have been lacking in the special teams when it comes to that part of the game for so many years, because it's been a long time that the New York Giants have had themselves a punt returner and kick returner that puts fear into the opposing special teams coordinator and opposing special teams in general. Hopefully that changes this year. So that's just my quick little wrap up of the New York Giants Roundabout Special Teams Edition. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you haven't already, please hit the like button below. Subscribe if you haven't already to NYG Jeffy T 3285 for more breaking news, updates, and chatter surrounding the New York Giants, Brooklyn Nets, New York Mets, WWE Wrestling, as well as some food for thought. Leave a comment below on your opinions of the special teams unit going into 2022. what if you think the 2021 special teams unit was good or if it was just needs some improvement, and what players you're looking forward to seeing the most when it comes to special teams in 2022. And turn on the bell for notifications on the next short or video that drop for the New York Giants on the channel. So I hope everybody enjoys their Hump Day Wednesday. Training camp is almost here. We're about 6 days away from when training camp officially kicks off on July 26th and when the New York Giants' road to the season officially begins. Everybody enjoy your Wednesday, have a good one, and let's go New York Giants. Together blue, everyone.